Some things just go together. Okay, you have Belichick and Brady. You have the Steelers and good wide receivers. And then you have the Rams and good running backs. At least that's the trend. Don't believe me, just pay attention during this video, okay? If you're like me, you're not like a boomer or anything like that. You're 30 or younger, maybe a little older than 30. For as long as you've been watching football, you've associated the Rams with having at least one really good running back on their roster at a time. It's really not something you think about too often. It's just something that happens, okay? Like whenever you're just watching football, you're like, okay, you know, there's Megatron, he's on the Lions, okay. You see the Bengals, oh, they have Ocho Cinco, Shmazada, okay, cool. Oh, there's the Rams with yet another amazing talent at the running back position. It's just something you just got used to. You got accustomed to growing up watching football, and I really don't know how to explain it. Let's take it back to even way before the 90s, okay? Let's look at someone like Lawrence McCutcheon. He was with the Rams from 1972 to 1979. He was one of the best running backs in the 70s. He was extremely consistent. He missed just 3 starts between 73 and 77 while rushing over 900 yards each season. In the divisional round in 75, he set an NFL record with 202 rushing yards against the Cardinals. Right now it's 5th all time. But a year later, he scored a touchdown in both of their postseason matchups while rushing for a combined 186 yards on 47 touches. And in the Super Bowl, he completed a 24-yard touchdown pass in a loss to the Steelers, which was his last game with the Rams. But yeah, he was pretty much the elite running back for the Rams in the 70s. A decade later, in the 80s, you had Eric Dickerson. After he broke numerous rookie rushing records in 1983, he set a new all-time single-season rushing record in 84 and continued to dominate from there. This man set records from the jump, okay? In his rookie season, he had 390 attempts for 1,815 yards and 18 touchdowns. Go look at some of your favorite running backs, okay? I don't mean to throw any shade on anybody, but some of them haven't done that in their prime. In their best years, they haven't accomplished that. Eric Dickerson was doing that his rookie season. He was not human, okay? He was different. He also rushed for more than 100 yards in 9 games. That included his 192 and 199 yard efforts in back-to-back weeks. As if you didn't think that was good enough, he followed up his rookie year with an even better season. He bullied his way to an NFL record 2,105 yards, picking up a then record 12 games with at least 100 yards on the ground. Eventually, you know, he was traded to the Colts, but here are the stats he was able to accumulate with the Rams. Let's just say he did pretty well for himself. At least that's what I would say. I don't know, maybe you think differently, but I think those stats are pretty good. So now we're gonna look at the 90s. Jerome the Bus Bettis. He was drafted with the 10th pick in the 1993 NFL Draft by the Rams. He quickly earned the nickname the Battering Ram. How good do you have to be to have 2 iconic nicknames, man? The Bus is amazing. I really like that nickname, but the Battering Ram? That's fire too, bro. He had 2 amazing nicknames. That's not fair. That's flames. Anyways, you know, Jerome the Bus, or whichever nickname you want to give him, he had a pretty good tenure with the Rams, okay? As a consensus offensive rookie of the year in 1993. He was the only rookie to be named an All-Pro after bulldozing his way to 1,429 yards in one of the more memorable debut seasons in NFL history. He rushed for more than 100 yards in 7 games that season, including 5 of the final 6 matchups. Now, obviously, you know Jerome Bettis more so for being on the Steelers than you do for him being on the Rams, but you can't overlook the seasons he played with the Rams. That's where he became the force to be reckoned with. Now, at the end of his tenure with the Rams, he was asked to switch to fullback. You know, maybe they had too many good running backs on the roster. I don't know what the case was, but that's why he was asked to be traded to the Steelers, okay? That's why he didn't end up playing with the Rams for the rest of his career. But still, less than a decade later, we introduced Marshall Faulk. He was among the greatest show on turf, man. This dude was incredible. He could literally thrive in today's era and just be at the top of the top. Like, he was that good at both rushing the football and receiving. Luckily, I got to watch this man live. Like, the people before, I never watched Jerome on the Rams. I saw him on the Steelers, obviously, but never on the Rams. Marshall Faulk, I watched this man and I was in awe of how good he was. And he's probably the best running back to ever lace up for the Rams. He probably is. I mean, you can ask a lot of Rams fans, if he's not number one, he's number two, or 1A, 1B between him and Dickerson. Yeah, he was incredible. Now, he was actually drafted by the Colts. He did like a flip-flop with Dickerson. Obviously not during the same time period, but you know how Dickerson went from the Rams to the Colts? Yeah, Marshall Faulk went from the Colts to the Rams. I don't know what it is between those two franchises, but yeah, there's something going on there. He became a starter right from the beginning. Okay, after being traded to the Rams for 2 draft picks following a dispute with the Colts, he signed the richest contract in Rams history. And in that first season, in 1999, he broke the NFL record for total offensive yards in a season with 2,429 and became the second player ever to reach 1,000 rushing and receiving yards in the same season. He was doing things that McCaffrey's doing now back in 1999. Some of you guys watching this weren't even born. He was just way ahead of his time. The dude was different. He ended up helping the Rams win the Super Bowl that season, and he did his thing in the Super Bowl. Even though he was stuffed for just 17 on the ground by a great rushing defense, he still did his thing with 90 receiving yards, okay? He was just a dual threat. Even if you stopped him on the ground, he could produce for you in the air. And then the next season, he came back even stronger and set an NFL record with 26 total touchdowns. And that was despite missing 2 games to injury. So obviously, you know, a season like that, yeah, you have to win MVP. In 2001, he ended up winning the AP Offensive Player of the Year for the 3rd straight season, becoming just the 2nd player in history to achieve that feat. The only other player to do it was Earl Campbell from 1978 to 1980. So they end up losing that Super Bowl to the Patriots. We all know how that game went. And that would be his last true season of greatness. But he had already surpassed expectations for what the Rams were hoping they could get when they signed him. So Steven Jackson slipped in the 2004 NFL Draft due to a knee injury he suffered at Oregon State. But the Rams, with their eye for talent, with their eye for running back talent in particular, decided to select him with the 24th pick. Now at the time, he was the backup to Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk as a rookie, and after being named the starter in 2005, he began one of the longest streaks of 1,000-yard seasons in NFL history. After Faulk retired, Jackson was the premier back in St. Louis and had a breakout season in 2006 when he led the NFL with a career-best 2,334 offensive yards. That season, he set career highs in rushing yardage, in receiving yardage, and total touchdowns. Now, the franchise didn't have that much team success with Steven Jackson, but individually, it was apparent that, yet again, they had produced another elite running back. Look at his stats. How many 1,000-yard seasons in a row can your favorite running back say they had? Not too many are doing this. But if you thought it ended there, you were sadly mistaken. Now current Atlanta Falcon, you know, he went back to play in the same state that he played college football in. Todd Gurley was actually rehabilitating a torn anterior cruciate ligament. I could just said ACL, to be honest with you, but yeah, that was when he was drafted. But he returned to action sooner than expected, and despite only starting 12 games, he still killed it in his rookie season. You sensing a trend here? These Rams running backs, not only do they come in and immediately have an impact, they come in and they win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Okay, they come in guns blazing. All right, these dudes, for some reason, whatever they do in the Rams organization, they have these dudes ready to go from the get-go. It's unbelievable how they do it time and time again, but Gurley was yet another one. Now, you guys have been watching Gurley. If you're watching this video, you've probably been watching football. You've probably seen the majority, if not all, of Todd Gurley's NFL career. So I really don't have to go too far in depth. Just know he was absolutely insane. You know, you can see his stats right here. Last year wasn't his best ever. You know, he didn't have the yardage that he usually puts up, but touchdowns are still there. You can tell he lost a step or two. You know, injuries are definitely starting to pile on a little bit, but I still think he could be that elite running back that he was a couple years ago. But even if he doesn't, I mean, the Rams once again had just developed another elite running back. I mean, how many have we seen so far? What is it, 6, 7? I don't even know. And there's a few I didn't even mention that played back when the Rams were called the Cleveland Rams. Okay, like even before McCutcheon. All right, so there's just I can't explain it. Some organizations, they have these factories. Whether it's the Steelers with the wide receiver factory, or if it's the Rams with the running back factory, we're gonna find another one. That's my goal. Leave it in the comment section if you can think of another organization that has a factory. Okay, let me know. We're gonna go ahead and look at it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you think that one of the current Rams running backs could end up being the next in succession. We have Cam Akers, number 23, 5'10", 217 from Florida State. You have Darrell Henderson. He was drafted back in 2019 in round 3. And then you have Malcolm Brown. So yeah, let me know if you think any of these 3 guys could be next in line for the Rams running back factory, man. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone that clicked on this video. Watch to the end. If you're one of those people, God bless you. Have a good night, and I'll see you on the next one.